of Stephanie Stitches here. Welcome to my channel where together we sew. If you're brand new here, thank you so much for coming by. I'm glad to have you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I love to see all of you here. So this week we are working on the last block in my spring mystery quilt along called The Secret Garden. This week's block is hanging on the wall behind me. I've named it the Violet block for a very special reason. The violet was my grandmother's favorite flower, and she's the one who taught me to sew. So I wanted to pay a little tribute to her. So I can't wait to get started. And like I said, this is the last block. As always, you're going to make 2 of them. We're going to finish up this block, and then next week we're going to put this all together in a quilt top. So I'm super excited. So you guys have 1 week. If you're not all caught up on the blocks, which I know most of you are because I've seen all your pictures all over Facebook and Instagram, and I really appreciate you tagging me so I could see them. They look fabulous. But if you're not, you have a week to catch up, and then we're going to put it all together. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started sewing this together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually kind of go out of order of the directions that I gave you. If you need to go in the order of the directions, that's perfectly fine. The PDF, which is up on my website, and you can find it through the link below. I am going to do what I consider the easiest thing first, is I'm going to put the pink center, which is the very center of our block, together with these strips, so I can just set this aside and kind of forget about it until we get to the point where we need them. So I'm going to do that first. And I'm actually doing this first because I didn't write this as like its own step in the pattern. Because I felt like, you know, this was pretty self-explanatory and people would figure it out. But then I decided that I probably should show you just in case. So this is going to be the center strip. In the middle between, this block is divided into quadrants, so this is going to be the center strip in between those quadrants. So I'm just going to press this a little bit, and then we can set it aside until we get to the end. Okay, so that's the centerpiece. This is one of the strips in between the quadrants. Now, I'm going to make the half square triangles. So for each block, don't forget you're making 2 blocks. We're making one together and one on your own. You're going to need, for each block, you're going to need 2 yellow squares and 2 background squares that are the same size. These are the 3.5 inch pieces. And you're going to want to draw a line corner to corner on the back of your background square. And then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch to the left and 1/4 inch to the right of that line. Okay, and we're going to cut this apart. You can cut it with a rotary cutter, your favorite scissors, whatever you like. I'm just cutting right on that line. And then we're going to press it towards the print, whatever fabric you're using, or if you're using this fabric, the yellow. This yellow is really pretty. I'm not a huge yellow fan all the time, but this sunshine yellow, It's pretty gray today here where I live. And this is kind of giving me some sunshine, so I like it. So we're going to press that. And you're going to make 4 half square triangles for each block. So 8 altogether if you're doing both blocks at the same time. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my rotary cutter and my ruler if I can find it. I put it aside somewhere. And I'm going to trim these down. Oh, there it is. I'm going to trim these down to 2.5 inches square. Right now they're about 3 1/4. So you got a little wiggle room if your seams aren't perfect. That's why I like about making half square triangles a little oversized, because you can trim them down to the size that you need and not have to worry that they're going to be too small. Okay, that's one. Okay, so that part is done. Now, set these up here for a minute. Now I'm going to sew these together. You're going to have your white square or background square, whatever you're using, at the top, and then the half square triangles that you just made, the yellow butting up against the white and the white down to the left hand side. And that's going to be the same for all of these. So you can just stack them and kind of keep grabbing them. Okay, those are done. We'll iron those in a minute. Now we're going to add these white squares to each of these rectangles. And I've made some of these ahead of time just because these are directional. Now make sure you pay attention when you're doing this part. The yellow, you're going to put these all on the same way, but you're going to sew them a different direction. So the yellow and then the larger purple, we're going to sew from the top left to the bottom right on both of those, and then on the smaller purple, the shorter purple, we're going to sew from the top right to the bottom left. And it's okay if you make a mistake, if you have to pick it out and start over. Just make sure that you check these before you cut off the excess fabric, because we're going to be cutting 1/4 inch away from where we sewed. So before you cut that fabric away, just make sure that they're going the correct direction, because you can always pick, but once you've cut, you got to start over. So that's going the same direction as that, that's going the same direction as that, and that one is going the same direction as that one. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to trim these 1/4 inch away. And then after we trim them, we're going to press them. Now normally I press towards away from the background fabric or towards the printed or darker fabric, but these I'm just going to press them out. So we're going to be pressing, you know, towards the white, not towards the print in this case. If we try to press the other way, it gets kind of bulky with these. So I always go for the least bulky route. And most of the time you can get things pressed towards the dark, but with these, work so well. And then I'm going to press these guys at the same time. And I'm also going to press these towards the white for the same reason, because they're a little bulky. I tried it both ways when I did my sample block. Came out quite bulky there if I pressed it towards the yellow. So, okay. All right. Now this flower block, like I said, is sewn in quadrants. So you're just going to be repeating the same thing over and over again. So again, we can stack these up, and if you want to chain piece, you can. Or you can do one quadrant at a time, but if you stack them up, you'll remember how to make them. So I'm going to lay this out so you can see how they're going together. Just like this. So I'm going to attach the yellow pieces, the long yellow pieces, to the white and yellow first. So we're going to build on each of these pieces, kind of like how you build on a log cabin. So we're going to want to press between each piece that we add on. So this time I am going to press towards the darker. I'm going to press towards the yellow. So that direction. Okay, so that's what those look like all put together. So now we're going to do the small purple onto the bottom of what we just created. So I'm going to flip that right on there. So if you're working on both blocks at once, I recommend stacking all these up and doing each section, like every piece for each section, all at the same time. It'll save you a bunch of time. Okay, so now we're going to press these guys towards the purple. Or violet. Let's call it violet. I'm going to call it violet today since we're working on the violet block. My grandmother was an avid sewer, and she always had violets in her kitchen windows, and every time I see them I think of her, and it makes me smile. So I had to have a violet in this quilt. Okay, so now we're going to take the larger purples and join them to the sides here. So we're just going to start at the bottom of the purple that we just put on and go through the yellow to the white. Okay, so now I'm going to press these towards the purple. Here's one. Actually out of liquid in my pen, so I'm going to add a little more. So this is how you add liquid to your pen if you guys have one. You just unscrew the end, squirt the liquid in. Don't overfill it because it will spill out if you do. Guess how I know that? Okay, now we're back in business. And my pen was leaking last week, if you guys remember, but I put a new tip on and now it is right as rain. That's how you kind of know that it's time for a new tip, when it starts to leak. Okay. Oh, lovely. Alright, so now, between the two quadrants, and I've already sewn one so you guys can see, you're going to put this sashing strip. So I've got the other two here, and they're going to end up going like this. So I'm going to put this other sashing strip between these two. I'm going to go ahead and press this just to make it a little easier. It's already going the right way when I put the other side on. And now attach the other side. All right, so I've got that piece together. So now we're going to grab this strip that we made at the beginning and we're going to put this right in between the middle. So I'm going to attach it to this one first. I'm just going to make sure these are nesting up good. That may be a good spot to pin if you like to pin. Okay, let's open that up. Perfect, bang on. I like it when that happens. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and press this. So yesterday was International Quilt Day, and this whole month is actually National Quilt Month. So I'm just curious what you guys are doing to celebrate, if you are, and what you sewed yesterday, if you sewed anything. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear. I was very lucky and very blessed to be able to sew with two friends in the sewing quilting world, Yvette, Renee, and the guy who sews, or Sean, and that was a lot of fun. We worked on something called the mosaic block, so that was great fun. I had a great time, and I can't wait to get some more of those blocks done and made into a quilt top, because I just love them. But we're going to get this quilt top done first, because I am excited for this one. Good, that one matched up. So I'm going to press this one. And you can press these whichever way you like, up, down, towards each other, away from each other, whatever way you like. We're almost done with this block. We have one more step after this. We're just going to put on the outer pieces, which are the green that are left right here. Had to throw a little green in with the violet because violets are purple and green. Well, the leaves are green and the violets are purple. Okay, so there's the block so far. So now I'm just going to grab these side strips or the border strips, and I'm going to put a green on each side and then a green on the top and the bottom. Okay, so here's the violet block, and as you can see on the wall behind me, we've got our garden. I'm so happy that we're done, and next week we get to put this all together in a quilt top. So if you know anything about me, if you've been around my channel a little bit, you know I'm a little bit OCD, and I love things that are symmetrical. As you can see from the flowers behind me, they are not. So thank you guys so much for taking this journey with me. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to do something that reminded me of my grandmother. She loved flowers. Like I said, her favorite flower was the violet. So this quilt is in her honor. So thank you guys so much. This means the world to me. I love seeing your pictures. Keep posting them, please, on social media. Tag me if you post them on Facebook or Instagram, Stephanie Stitches. I love seeing them. I truly do. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. That means so much to me. So many of you are sewing this along with me, and it just, I am speechless. So I can't wait to see you guys next week to finish this up, and I'm going to try to quilt it and do a little video for you guys after we finish putting it together. So stay tuned. See you next week. Bye.